What's up, guys? I am back here again with the thing that I promised in my last deck profile. I promised you to bring out Arek's Lightsworn Blue Eyes. And boy, was this fun to play test all day. Well, I wouldn't say all day because I didn't have all day to do it. Okay. I didn't realize how fun this thing was. Mainly because I kept raging out because I kept losing to it. But now, I kind of understand. But basically, my friend Arek was gracious enough to donate his deck profile to the channel. Hashtag nice guy Arek. But now, enough of my rambling. We need to get into the deck profile. Now, we have 3 of the baby herself, triple Minerva. Minerva is really good. Whenever she is normal summoned, you can add 1 light dragon type monster from your deck to your hand, whose level is less than or equal to the number of Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard with different names. And then, second effect, if this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard during each of your end phases. You can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Really good at 3. Not to mention her Xyz counterpart is really awesome. But then we have triple Felice. Felice is also really good. She cannot be she cannot be normal summoned / set. She can only be special summoned by a card effect. If this card is sent from your deck to your graveyard by a monster effect, special summon it. You contribute this card and then target 1 monster on your opponent's field, destroy that target, and then send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. That's really good, especially since that card does a lot of things with that little bit of text. She is essentially a free special with a monster effect if she was sent to the graveyard. Not to mention, she's a free pop and a free mill 3. And since this deck focuses on milling out and then replacing everything, no wonder she's so good in this deck. But then we have Mr. Thick Boy himself, the boy that kept showing up in my hand almost any time I drew, triple Raiden. Raiden is also really good. During your main phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to your graveyard, and then if any Lightsworn monsters were sent there by this card's effect, he gains 200 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. You can only use each effect of Raiden once per turn. Once per turn during your end phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So he essentially gets you 2 cards deeper into the deck. Not to mention, loading up your graveyard with nothing but Lightsworn monsters. But then we have triple Wolf. He's really good. He's good for going into rank 4s. He cannot be special summoned / set, must be summoned by monster effect. If this card is sent from the deck to the graveyard, special summon it. And his effect is not a once per turn, which is what makes him, in my opinion, probably one of the best cards in the deck. But then for the next card, we're going to be doing Lumina. She is really good. Once per turn, you can discard 1 card and then target 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster in your graveyard. Target special summon it. That target once per turn during the end phase, and the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. She's good as a 1-of. I know that. Well, that's why she is only at 1. I mean, look at these sleeves. Them some sexy sleeves, though. But really good as a 1-of. But now we're getting into the big boy stuff. We're getting into the dragons, but we're not quite done with the Lightsworns yet. We have one more Lightsworn monster package. Triple Judgment Dragon. Cannot be normal summoned / set. Must be special summoned from the hand by having 4 or more Lightsworn monsters with different names in your graveyard. You cannot be special summoned by other ways. You can pay 1,000 life points, destroy all other monsters on the field during each of the end phases, send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard. He's really good. I can see why he runs them at 3 because essentially you pay 1,000, you can pop a card, not to mention at the end of each end phase, you can mill the top 4 cards, essentially drawing you even deeper into the deck. But that's it for the Lightsworn monsters. Let's get to probably what makes this entire deck go round. We have 2 Blue Eyes White Dragon. The legendary dragon, this powerful engine of destruction, virtually invincible. Very few have faced this awesome creature and have lived to tell the tale. I'm a big Blue Eyes fan. And just seeing that an old school card is able to make such a big impact in such... Because I do believe that Lightsworns came out around the Xyz era, if I'm correct. If not, the Synchro era. All I know is that they're not... Yeah, just to see an old monster like this brings tear to my eyes. But let's go for... Let's go for something that's not so old. 1 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon. Cannot be normal summon / set. Must be special summoned from the hand by revealing 1 Blue Eyes White Dragon in your hand. You can only special summon 1 Blue Eyes Alternative White Dragon once per turn this way. This card becomes Blue Eyes White Dragon while it's on the field or in the graveyard. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and this card cannot attack after you activated its effect. Yeah, that kind of balances him out a little bit. Well, I say a little bit, a lot. It balances him a lot because he is just broken in standard Blue Eyes. But most people only play him as 2 of. Mainly because he's a once per turn effect. Which is what kind of bites him in the butt. But let's go for 2 White Stone of Ancients. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, special summon 1 Blue Eyes monster from your deck. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Blue Eyes monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use each effect of White Stone Ancients once per turn. Yeah, there's really no explanation for this card. No explanation because it's a staple card. But then we have the 1 White Stone Ancients to search out your Blue Eyes. The 1 Dragon Spirit of White. He mainly runs it for trade-in. Not to mention he can be special summoned, making him really, really good. But then we have last of the dragons. We have 1 Archbrave, no explaining. And then we have the thing that makes this deck, which makes this deck's inherent weakness completely melt away. He runs 2 Exodius, the Ultimate Forbidden Lord. Basically what Exodius does is that you can summon him, is that you can summon him, activate his effect to shuffle back all the monsters from your graveyard back into your deck. Dude, turn 1 with me playing this deck, the deck was pretty much the graveyard. Well, I say pretty much. No, it was the graveyard. And activating one of them to shuffle him back. Essentially making what Arek saw as the weakness of the deck completely go away. And I can see why. This is really good. That's it for the monsters. Let's go straight on into the spells. For the Lightsworn spells, we have 3 charge of the Light Brigade. There's no explanation for this one. Send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Add 1 level 4 or lower monster from your deck to your hand. So essentially, a free mill and a free search. Really, no explanation. All Lightsworn decks run this card. And then we have 2 Solar Recharge. You can discard 1 Lightsworn monster, draw 2 cards, and then send 2 cards from your deck to your grave. And you can search out which ones you want to do. Like, say, you activate that effect by, say, discarding Minerva, and then you want to send him, which is still a free special summon. And then say you want to send 1 Whitestone Ancients, mainly to help you get out a big beefy monster. But then to make sure that none of the tuner stuff is a brick, that way you don't have to completely summon it. 1 card of Constance. Discard 1 dragon type tuner monster with 1,000 or less attack, draw 2 cards. It's basically trade-in. Speak of the devil. Wait, let me move that. Speak of the devil, we have our 3 trade-in, mainly for the Blue Eyes, the Dragon Spirit of White, and JD. JD is a level 8, which makes it really good. And then you can't just have that without adding in the thing to protect your dragons. And we have 3 Return of the Dragon Lords, and they're the shiny one. Get that common crap out of here. Even though I myself play the commons because that's all I can afford. But then for the last of the spells, 1 Foolish Burial, no explanation, send stuff to the graveyard, not to mention a Monster Reborn to help get a monster from either player's field, well, from their graveyard, all the way onto your field. No explanation. Really good card. That's it for the main deck. Now let's go ahead and get into the extra deck. This deck does not have a side deck, by the way. Okay, for the Link monsters, and the only Link monsters, double Curious, 3 monsters with different attributes, with the same attribute, but different types. Which makes him really good in this deck. Because, say that you have 3 different ones. You have the Beast Warrior one, the Spellcaster one, and the... What was the other one? I don't know. I know that there's more than just those attributes in the deck. If this face-up card is destroyed by battle, or leaves the field because of your opponent's card effect while your owner controls it, you can target 1 card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. You can only use each of the following effects of Curious once per turn. If this card is link summoned, add 1 card from your deck to your graveyard. If card or cards were sent from the deck to the graveyard by an effect, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. He is really good, especially whenever you're milling more Lightsworn monsters. He is essentially a mill 4 on his own, making him really good. And then we do have, for the 1 Lightsworn Xyz monster, 1 Michael. He is really good for what he does. Once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, target one card on the field, banish that target, and then when this card is destroyed, you can target any number of Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them into the deck, and if you do, gain 300 life points for each returned card. During each of your end phases, send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Now you know why I say that this deck is all about milling. Now let's get into some more synchro monsters. We have one Dragon Spirit of Light, mainly for, blue eyes. We have one Azure Eyes Silver Dragon. There's no explanation there. One Psyframe Lord Omega. He is really good, especially in this deck. Once per turn during the main phase, you can banish both this and face-up card from the field and one random card from your opponent's hand face up until your next standby phase. Once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can target one banished card, return that card to the GY, and if this is in your GY, you can target one other in your graveyard, shuffle both that card and this card into the graveyard into the deck. I know I completely butchered that, but here you go. But now let's get into the majority of this deck. We have, for rank 8 plays, these are all, really good. One, Galaxy Eyes Cypher Blade Dragon. One Galaxy Eyes Full Armor Photon Dragon. One Galaxy Eyes Cypher Dragon. One Galaxy Eyes Tank something Dragon. I can't read that at the moment. It's so hot in here. And then we have one number 62 Galaxy Eyes Prime Photon Dragon. I'm sensing a lot of photons here. Ooh. And then we have one Hope Harbinger. But now into the woman herself, all grown up. We need to even clear the stage for this. We need, last but not least, the Piece of Resistance. Triple grown-up Minerva the Exiled Lightsworn. Her effect is that you can detach one material from this card, send the top 3 cards from your deck to the graveyard, and then draw cards equal to the number of Lightsworn monsters sent to the graveyard by this effect. If this card is destroyed by battle, or if this card in its owner's possession to be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and then you can destroy cards on the field up to the number of Lightsworn monsters in your graveyard by this effect. You can only use each effect of Minerva, the Exiled Lightsworn, once per turn. Yeah, she is a hard once per turn, but isn't initially very much worth it. But all in all, I do believe that is the entire deck profile. Hopefully, if this deck ever gets updated, we'll find out what any new text that he would want to put in would be. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the deck profile. Shout out to my man Arek for donating his deck profile to us. But with that out of the way, crap, don't move the camera. But with that out of the way, see ya.